Welcome to this scientific lecture on transforming a simple invention into a successful commercial product. Today we'll explore the systematic process that bridges the gap between a creative idea and market reality. Let me start with a fundamental question. Why do 95% of new products fail within their first year? The answer lies in what we call the innovation valley, the treacherous gap between invention and commercialization. Here we see the innovation timeline. On the left is your simple invention. On the right is commercial success. Between them lies what researchers call the valley of death, where most innovations perish due to lack of proper methodology. The first critical stage is technical validation. This is where we answer the question, does your invention actually work as intended under real-world conditions? Begin with proof of concept. In a controlled laboratory environment, demonstrate that your invention performs its intended function. This is your baseline. Next, develop a working prototype. This is not a perfect product, but a functional model that demonstrates feasibility. Think of it as your hypothesis made tangible. Conduct reliability testing. Your invention must work not once, but consistently. We need statistical significance, not anecdotal success. Let me give you a classic example. Consider the humble paperclip, invented in 1899 by Johann Waller. It seems trivially simple, doesn't it? But let's analyze its path to commercial success. The paperclip started as a simple, bent wire, but Waller went through over 40 design iterations to optimize the spring tension, material gauge, and shape geometry for maximum holding force without tearing paper. What made it successful? Precise technical specifications. The wire diameter had to be exactly 0.9 millimeters. Too thin, and it tears paper. Too thick, and it doesn't grip. This is engineering optimization. Now we arrive at stage 2, market validation. Here's the critical question. Does anyone actually need your invention, and more importantly, will they pay for it? First, establish problem-solution fit. Your invention must solve a real, measurable problem. Not a problem you think exists, but one that potential customers actively experience and acknowledge. Calculate your total addressable market. How many potential customers exist? What is the market size in dollars? Is it 10 million or 10 billion? This determines scalability potential. Analyze the competitive landscape. What existing solutions are customers using? Your invention doesn't need to be completely novel. It needs to be significantly better in at least one dimension. The total addressable market equals the number of potential users multiplied by the annual revenue per user. This gives you the theoretical maximum market size. Consider the Post-it note, invented accidentally by Spencer Silver at 3M in 1968. He created a weak adhesive that seemed useless. A failed experiment, right? Wrong. Silver's weak adhesive was initially considered a failure because it didn't bond permanently. But Artfry realized this weakness was actually a feature. A repositionable note solved a real problem for office workers. Temporary marking without damage. Here's the crucial insight. It took 12 years from invention to commercial launch. Why? 3M had to validate the market. They distributed free samples to offices and measured actual usage patterns. Scientific method applied to business. Stage 3 is value proposition engineering. This is where many inventors fail. They focus on what the invention is, rather than what value it delivers to customers. Functional value describes what your product does. This is the basic utility. For a drill, the functional value is, it makes holes. Emotional value describes how it makes users feel. Does it provide security, status, or convenience? For that same drill, the emotional value might be feeling of accomplishment and self-sufficiency. Economic value is quantifiable financial benefit. Does it save time, reduce costs, increase productivity? This must be measured in dollars, not vague benefits. Economic value equals the savings generated plus revenue gains minus the cost of the product. If this number is negative, you don't have a viable commercial product. Let me pose a question. The Segway was an engineering marvel, a self-balancing personal transporter, yet it largely failed commercially. Why? The answer is value proposition failure. The Segway cost $5,000. For that price, what problem did it solve? It wasn't faster than biking. It wasn't more convenient than walking for short distances. It wasn't cheaper than a car for long distances. The Segway solved a problem that didn't exist at its price point. This is the critical lesson. Technical innovation alone is insufficient. The value delivered must exceed the cost by a significant margin. Stage 4 is production scalability. Can you manufacture your invention at scale while maintaining quality and profitability? This is engineering economics. Calculate unit economics. What does each unit cost to produce at various volumes? You need economies of scale. The 10,000th unit must cost substantially less than the first. Develop a repeatable manufacturing process. Variability is the enemy of scalability. You need Six Sigma quality, meaning 99.9966% of units meet specifications. Design your supply chain. Single points of failure are catastrophic. You need multiple suppliers for critical components and buffer inventory for demand variability. The break-even volume equals fixed costs divided by the difference between price and variable cost per unit. This tells you the minimum sales volume needed for profitability. Consider Tesla's Model 3 production. Elon Musk called 2017 production hell. Why? Because scaling from prototype to mass production is exponentially harder than building one perfect unit. Tesla targeted 5,000 Model 3s per week, but initially produced only 200. The bottleneck? Battery module assembly was manual. It took 18 months to automate and debug the process. The lesson: automation is not optional for commercial scale. Manual assembly limits throughput and introduces variability. Successful products require industrial engineering optimization. Stage 5 is your go-to-market strategy. How will customers discover, evaluate, purchase, and adopt your product? This requires a scientific approach to customer acquisition. Calculate customer acquisition cost, or CAC. This is the total marketing and sales expense divided by the number of new customers acquired. For profitability, CAC must be less than customer lifetime value. Select distribution channels strategically. Direct-to-consumer, retail partnerships, online marketplaces. Each channel has different economics and control trade-offs. Understand the technology adoption curve. You have innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. Each segment requires different messaging and pricing strategies. The rule of thumb: customer lifetime value should exceed 3 times the customer acquisition cost. This ensures profitability and allows for market expansion investment. Let me give you a brilliant example. Dollar Shave Club. They didn't invent razors. The Gillette Mach 3 existed. So what did they commercialize successfully? Dollar Shave Club commercialized a new business model, not a new product. They identified that customers felt exploited by $20 razor cartridges. The invention was the subscription delivery model at $1 per month. Their viral video cost just $4,500 to produce, but generated 12,000 customers in 48 hours. They solved distribution through direct-to-consumer subscription, eliminating retail markup. The result? Unilever acquired Dollar Shave Club for $1 billion in 2016. They commercialized convenience and value proposition, not technological innovation. The final stage is establishing feedback loops and continuous iteration. No product is perfect at launch. Successful commercialization requires systematic improvement based on data. Instrument your product with metrics. How often is it used? Which features are popular? Where do users struggle? Without data, you're optimizing blind. Implement rapid iteration cycles. The scientific method applies here. Form hypothesis. Test with A/B experiments. Measure results. Iterate. This is continuous improvement at scale. Integrate customer feedback systematically. Not every suggestion is valid, but patterns and feedback reveal real product market fit issues that need addressing. This is the build, measure, learn feedback loop. Build a minimum viable feature, measure its impact with real users, learn from the data, then iterate. This cycle must be fast, typically 2 to 4 weeks. Instagram is a perfect example of feedback-driven iteration. It started as Bourbon, a check-in app with photo sharing as one feature among many. Founder Kevin Systrom analyzed usage data. The data revealed that users ignored check-ins and only engaged with photo sharing. So Systrom made a scientific decision: eliminate everything except photos and filters. This pivot created Instagram. The simplified app launched in October 2010. Within 2 months, It had 1 million users. Facebook acquired Instagram for $1 billion in 2012. This is data-driven product development. Let me summarize the critical success factors for commercializing a simple invention. These are scientifically validated principles, not opinions. Factor 1. Technical feasibility. Your invention must work reliably and repeatedly. One success is not validation. You need statistical confidence. Factor 2. Market need. The problem you solve must be real, acknowledged by customers, and painful enough that they will pay to solve it. Factor 3. Economic viability. The value delivered must exceed the cost by at least 3 to 5 times. Marginal value improvements fail. Factor 4. Scalable production. Your manufacturing process must achieve economies of scale with consistent quality. Craftsmanship doesn't scale. Factor 5. Efficient distribution. Customer acquisition cost must be sustainable relative to lifetime value. Expensive customer acquisition kills profitability. Factor 6. Continuous improvement. You must instrument, measure, and iterate based on data. Intuition alone is insufficient for commercial success. Now let me give you the mathematical framework for evaluating commercial potential. This is a quantitative assessment tool. Commercial potential equals market size multiplied by value proposition strength divided by competition intensity multiplied by execution complexity. Higher is better. Market size is your total addressable market, measured in annual revenue dollars. A $10 million market can't support a billion-dollar company. Value proposition is the improvement factor over existing alternatives. 2 times better is incremental. 10 times better is transformative. You need 10x for commercial breakthrough. Competition measures both the number and strength of existing solutions. Entering a market dominated by entrenched players requires overwhelming superiority. Complexity encompasses both technical difficulty and operational requirements. Simpler products reach market faster and achieve profitability sooner. Let me conclude with a final question. What ultimately makes the difference between commercial success and failure? Is it the invention itself? The answer, supported by research across thousands of startups, is execution excellence, not invention brilliance. Many great inventions fail. Many simple ideas succeed spectacularly. On the left, a brilliant invention with poor execution fails. On the right, a simple invention with excellent execution succeeds. This pattern repeats across industries and decades. The key insight: process matters more than the initial idea. Following a rigorous scientific methodology for commercialization is what separates success from failure. The systematic approach we've discussed includes technical validation, market validation, value proposition engineering, production scalability, go-to-market strategy, and feedback-driven iteration. Each stage has measurable milestones and quantitative decision criteria. This removes emotion and intuition from the process, replacing them with data and scientific rigor. In conclusion, commercializing a simple invention is not an art. It is a science with testable hypotheses, measurable outcomes, and repeatable processes. Success requires methodical execution of each stage, rigorous measurement of key metrics, willingness to pivot based on data, and persistent iteration toward product-market fit. Technical rigor ensures your invention actually works reliably at scale. Market discipline keeps you focused on customer problems rather than falling in love with your technology. Financial prudence ensures sustainable unit economics and a path to profitability. Operational excellence builds scalable manufacturing and distribution processes. Remember this fundamental truth: ideas are abundant and cheap. Excellent execution is rare and valuable. Focus your energy accordingly. Thank you for your attention. I hope this scientific framework helps you transform your simple invention into a successful commercial product. The methodology is proven. Now execution is up to you.